The human skull tells thousands of different stories.
There are plenty of stories in this small showroom in Brooklyn. It's filled with human skulls, skeletons, and spines.
If you look at the wall of spines, every single individual is different in shape, size, complexion, and history.
They're all for sale, but they don't come cheap. They're listed on the John's Bones website for thousands of dollars.
We really find that the price point commands a level of respect.
John Pichaya Ferry is the face behind John's Bones.
These are two real human skulls.
He's a big hit on TikTok.
So my dad had done this in the 1960s when he was in the Boy Scouts.
The 23-year-old says he became interested in osteology, the study of bones, when his dad gave him this articulated skeleton of a mouse.
Instead of presenting it as creepy, dark, and scary, he approached it to me as academic, scientific, and from a more structural design point.
The bones in this inventory were part of the medical bone trade that existed for about 100 years.
Here you can actually see a skeleton processing plant that dates back to 1911, where they had tons of human skeletons that were on display for sale.
Medical students and others use them to study human anatomy. Ferry says he wants to return them to educational use.
We oftentimes don't sell to collectors. We believe these pieces should be used for educational value.
The buying and selling of bones and other body parts is mostly legal in Pennsylvania and almost all other states. But the recent indictment of Jeremy Pauley and others accused in a scheme to buy and sell stolen body parts and controversy over museum collections have raised a lot of questions about the business.
I don't think that the laws as we have them are expansive enough.
Samuel Redman is a history professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst and the author of The Bone Rooms.
I do not think that it should be legal to buy and sell human remains on the internet.
He says the true origins of specimens, which often came from marginalized people in India and other countries, have been wiped away.
That sort of pulls us away in some meaningful level from their humanness and from really understanding what these things are.
These bones are between 50 and 100 years old. But Pichaya Ferry says he hasn't lost sight of the fact that they're real people.
I've pondered over the years, but when I work with it, I try to stay objective and professional about the pieces.
And he was shocked at the news of the stolen body parts.
It's all about accessibility, transparency, and education, and I feel as if this really puts a stain on that.
Every one of the skulls here in the showroom has a tag like this. It's sort of like a medical bracelet. John puts the information into his database showing where it's from and how it was acquired.
We're able to really tell where it was from and how it was produced.
While we were visiting the showroom, Martha Masak of Rochester, New York, arrived with pieces to sell, including what's known as a phantom skull. She bought them years ago from a business in the UK.
And I just thought there's a lot of controversy about it, as you know, and I thought it might be best to sort of, maybe it's time to get that out of the house. That was really what the impetus for the sale.
So this one can be anywhere from between 1930 to
Her pieces will become part of the inventory that now numbers in the hundreds and is valued in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Susan Shapiro on your side, WGAL News 8.